You're on to Buzz Cafe on 94.5 Vybz FM, the Vibes of Lagos. And today is Tasty Thursday. Before we get into today's conversation, I have a special guest in the studio for you. Yes, you know I only bring the best stuff to you. If it's not good, it's not here. So I have a special guest in the studio, all the way from the United States Consulate, Nigeria. I'm here with the Public Affairs Officer, Joseph Kruzich. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. nice to be on your show.
All right, it's so good to have you here. So it's so interesting that you have been in Nigeria for over a year.
Yeah,
so
it's been quite an adventure.
How has it been so far?
Oh, great. I had a chance to, travel around Nigeria, all over the southern states, from Calabar to Lagos to Ibadan to Abeokuta and a whole bunch of other places, and up to Abuja many times, and met people from Nigeria all over, from the northeast and Maiduguri to Sokoto.
Wait, within a year you've been to these places?
Yeah. Well, I didn't go to those places,
okay,
but I met people from there.
Okay.
And mainly in Abuja, and then Sokoto and Calabar and Benin and Port Harcourt and all those other great places around Nigeria. And it's been a real adventure, a chance to really get to know the Nigerian people, their families, their culture, and their food.
Yeah, food. We'll get to that later.
I know. We will.
All right, so can you provide me an overview and the scope of the bilateral relationship between the United States and Nigeria?
Yeah, the U.S.-Nigeria relationship is a very dynamic partnership, and it's expanding every year as we speak. We have a solid foundation of economic and trade relations between the U.S. and Nigeria, and then also a very strong security partnership on counterterrorism issues. And then also we have just extraordinarily strong people-to-people ties between the U.S. and Nigeria, some of which have to do with our exchange programs, much of which also goes on outside of the official relations between the U.S. and Nigerian governments, just because of the large Nigerian diaspora in the United States and the record number of Nigerians that are traveling to the United States, either on business or for cultural events, like we're going to talk about hopefully later, about the Headies, which will happen in Atlanta next month. So there's just a lot of activity going on. It's a real dynamic partnership that has deep roots and will continue, I think, to grow and blossom.
Yeah, speaking of the Headies, there's a remarkable cultural shift in Nigeria right now in the music, film, art, technology, and more. And I've noticed that the U.S. mission has orchestrated an initiative to bring in the artists and the creatives in America and their counterparts in Nigeria to collaborate. Tell me, what is the importance of this? Why is it necessary to bring the creatives in Nigeria and the ones in America together?
Well, it's a recognition of Nigeria's leading role in the world in these particular areas, especially music, film, fashion, and other areas. And we also are a leading role as the United States. Certainly our Hollywood and Nollywood have natural synergies, natural partnerships built in. The music industries in the United States and Nigeria, from Nashville to New York to Lagos to Abuja and other places around Nigeria, are centers for music innovation in Africa. And so it's a natural partnership between our two countries in that area, and so we want to take advantage of that. One area, obviously, we've done a whole lot of work is with Hip TV and with the Headies in terms of highlighting Afrobeat and the partnerships and the relationships that are being forged on the Afrobeat side. There's a lot of popularity of Nigerian music right now in the United States, and you've seen that also with Burna Boy in Europe and some of his concerts in the UK, but also the same, he's been selling out stadiums in the United States as well. So there's just natural fits there, and then also in film.
Now, it's so interesting that the Headies Award is returning to Atlanta for the second time. Now, could you discuss the collaboration between the U.S. and the Nigerian creative sector, especially the Headies Award?
Yeah, well, we've been involved with the Headies for a very long long time and given them grants and financial assistance, and now we're really in a close partnership relationship. Last year was the start of them, IO taking the Headies over to America to Atlanta, and we were very instrumental in helping him do that and working on a number of the logistical issues that he has to solve to get that done. And he does it wonderful, and it was a great event. You had the Lagos State Governor there. You had our ambassador there last year. It was just a fantastic event. And one of my favorite Nigerian performers, Irish Star, was there as well. So I wish I had been there. I wish I could.
You were not there.
I wasn't.
Are you going to be there next month?
Well, I hope to, but I don't think my schedule's going to allow. But our Consul General will be there. Will Stevens, our Consul General, he'll be there.
I mean, it would be nice for you to experience this firsthand.
I know.
The Headies is fun.
I know. But anyway, this year we organized a huge reception and spectacle over at the Consul General's residence.
Yeah,
I mean, for 500-600 people. I know you were there. And it was just a great event. It was wonderful to see. We had lots of great entertainment. We had lots of great speeches and talking and just a lot of
food.
And the food was
lots of African food.
Oh, a lot of African. Of course, there was lots of African food. We always have lots of African food at our receptions. All
right. Now, speaking of the initiative you have now, tech and animation and gaming is growing in Nigeria.
Sure.
And I know the consulate have supported. I'm aware of the AFRIF grant last year, $25,000 for animation. But tell me, what are your projections for the tech space, animation space, and gaming space in Nigeria moving forward?
Well, we're going to continue on with the animation support that we give AFRIF, and then beyond what we did with AFRIF, we also had expert animators from Los Angeles come over here in April and May this year, and they did several workshops and created all kinds of great partnerships, which have led now to us sending a couple of really up-and-coming Nigerian animators to Los Angeles, and they went for 2 weeks in, I believe it was May, and they had just a fantastic time, and we're going to continue on along that track. And then on tech, I mean, tech Nigeria has a great future in the tech area, and it's already established itself as a leader in Africa, and soon it will be a leader in the world in tech as well, and especially in fintech. Nigeria is really, really advanced in that area. Some of the leading fintech companies on the continent are all based in Lagos. I think out of the top 7 or something, 5 or 6 are from Nigeria. And then when you even look at like data storage centers, I know the Wale from 21st Century runs one of Nigeria's largest data storage centers. 4 of the top 10 data storage centers in Africa are in Lagos.
Wow.
And so Nigeria's and then look at what the American tech companies are doing with Microsoft investing here, Google. And then also Google and then also Oracle as well. And they're investing not just in the coders and stuff like that, but they're investing in training and leadership development and stuff like that. So I think tech has a bright future in Nigeria.
Now, the U.S. government, they have a lot of variety of cultural, educational, and professional exchange programs. Now, can you explain and shed more light on these activities and how Nigerian youth can be a part of it?
Oh, sure. We have just a tremendous amount of cultural exchanges that go on between, there are people-to-people exchanges that go on between the U.S. and Nigeria. One of the programs that we're most proud of is the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program, and that's people can apply for that. We announced that the process is opening, I think, this month or next.
Oh, wow.
And we'll do the interviews in in December and January of next year.
What's the initiative about?
Well, the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program has been around for about 10, 12 years, and it was obviously named after Nelson Mandela, the great leader from South Africa. But it's we send about 58 Nigerians every year, evenly split, 29 from the north, 29 from the south, that go for 6 weeks, sometimes for 10 weeks, including a 4-week follow-on internship program at an institution. But they're young people. They're in their early 20s to early 30s, and we're identifying people in leading industries and sectors, NGOs or agriculture or technology or the creative industries, and we send them to institutions in the U.S., their counterparts, a lot of times in universities and stuff like that, and they stay in that institution for 6 weeks. They do a lot of intensive study, and then if they have a chance, we actually pay for them to work in an actual organization for another 4 weeks, and then they come back. And we have a huge Mandela Washington Fellowship alumni program, which is very active and does a lot of great work around Nigeria. But then it just doesn't stop at what we call it the MWF, Mandela Washington Fellowship Program. We just today we not today, but this week we inaugurated the Carrington Fellowship Program inductees over at the Consul General's residence. That was on Tuesday, I believe, and we had I think about 60 new inductees for that program, and that's been around for about a decade as well. In addition, we have the International Visitor Leadership Program, where we said this is for a little bit more senior people than the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program and the Carrington Fellows Program, and there we send people for three weeks to 4 weeks for meetings with a lot of their counterparts. If it's journalists, we send them to meet with journalists in the U.S. If it's agricultural experts, we send them to meet with agriculture experts, and they travel all around, usually a minimum 4 to 5 cities in the U.S., including Washington.
So how does the U.S. government facilitate support to Nigerian students who wants to study in the U.S.? And are there like grants or support for Nigerians in America to key into?
Yeah, it's a great question, and studying in the U.S. for Nigerian students is increasingly popular, we've seen. And we almost have 15,000 Nigerian students each year going to the U.S. to study at either the undergrad or the graduate level. And we expect that number to double in the next 5 years. It's just amazing the demand for it. Obviously, a lot of students also go to the U.K. and to other places around the world, but the U.S. is one of the hot markets for educational study among Nigerian students. And what we have is we have a whole bunch of programs. One, the most important, is Education USA. Education USA has many offices around Nigeria, but in the south, we have one at our consulate in Lagos, and then we have one in Calabar at our American corner there. We have one in Benin, and I believe we have one in Port Harcourt as well at our American corners there. And those are great resources if you're thinking about studying in the U.S. and you're, say, a high school student and you want to do undergrad, or you're a graduate student and you want to do graduate school. Those are great resources for finding out about how to select the schools, how to do the application process, how to prepare for the visa interview, and all the rest. We have workshops on that. We go through the financial assistance package that you'll get from a lot of universities and how to apply for different scholarships. And most Nigerian students who go to the U.S. get scholarships. Some is full tuition, some of it is partial, but there's a lot of assistance for Nigerian students out there. Okay. We provide some, but the numbers are very large, and we can't afford to provide total assistance. But with some students, we provide perhaps airfare and some other and defray expenses for like application fees and that sort of thing. But our major added value here is actually in the advising and getting people ready for the whole process and selecting, filling out the application, finding financial resources, and then prepping for the visa interview as well. And we do our people in that area just do a great, exceptional job. So So I urge everyone to use Education USA as a resource if you want to study in the U.S.
That's right. So if you want to study in the U.S., there you have it. Go to Education US and you get all the details you need. Before I let you go, I have a question for you. You've been in Nigeria for over a year. You've explored the food, the culture, the dance, music, everything. Which is your favorite across the board? Your favorite musical artist, your favorite Nigerian meal, the favorite Nigerian culture?
Okay, so on the music, I love Aristar and Rush. I have it on my phone and I listen to it almost every day.
Shout out to Aristar.
Yeah. On the food, it's jollof rice by far. And I have a great story to tell because I was just recently, a colleague and I from the council, we visited Accra in Ghana.
Okay.
And you know the rivalry on jollof rice between Ghana and Nigeria. So I made him eat jollof rice and I took a video and I sent it back to the team here. And I said, gosh, you look like you're enjoying that jollof rice too much in Ghana. And it caused a little ruckus. But when he got back, he had to declare finally and definitively that Nigerian jollof rice is the best.
And I'm happy you agree with him that Nigerian jollof rice is the best.
That's right. I love it. I love it.
Thank you so much for being my guest today on the show. It was very fun and informative. Thank you so much for coming.